Yvonne Larier, and I am so jazzed about having you join us at the Access Rumor Time Conversations show. This is a conversation that will inspire you to renew your mind and transform your life in 5 steps. The goals of the Access Rumor Time show are to 1, to inspire you to style your life optimally, and 2, to inspire you to use your social emotional competencies or skills effectively in your everyday life as you live, as you love, as you learn, as you earn, and as you play. We want you to be able to fully and intentionally engage in the process of renewing your mind and transforming your life. We are coming to you live from the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right.
We are recording live from the Ayoba Studios in Santa Rosa Heights, Arima.
That's right.
And we're so excited to be here doing this recording to talk about the holiday season and recognizing and understanding your thoughts, your interactions, mindsets, and emotions. Before we get into our show for this afternoon, for today, I would like to introduce you, or would like the ladies and gentlemen on the show to introduce themselves.
All right. Well, I am Dr. Nadine Isaac, and I hail from the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I am affiliated with GC Squad. I'm a research associate and professional counselor with this wonderful organization, and I'm excited to be here to join in with this wonderful conversation this evening.
My name is Erwin Larrier. I'm Executive Director for Center for Community Justice out of Elkhart, Indiana. I'm born in the single island state of Barbados, 166 square miles, and we've just built a little extra for those who choose to visit additionally. My key thing here is I've worked with youth over 25 years. My background is pastoral ministry, software engineering, and of course sales. But most importantly, I'm here this evening to share some insights and to gather knowledge and how to execute some of the most important aspects of Rumor Time.
I am Stacy Noriega. I am associated with GC Squad in my capacity as a school psychologist. And I too am very excited to be a part of this conversation today.
Good evening. I am Catherine Luces. I am GC Squad Caribbean Director. I am from the Twin Island state of Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm happy to be here as part of the conversation with my lovely colleagues.
We're here and we're in season 1 of Access Rumor Time Conversation, and this is episode number 2. The topic today focuses on self-awareness, one's ability to recognize and understand your thoughts, your interactions, your mindsets, and your emotions as they relate to the Christmas or holiday seasons. And as we move into the full discussion, Nadine has something that she wants to say.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Not.
Why? What's the matter?
And that's the question many people get asked. Why do you feel this is not the most wonderful time of the year? There's songs written about how wonderful this time of the year is, but not everyone experiences that. And so we're gonna talk to each other. We're going to talk amongst ourselves and encourage you to engage in this conversation, to join this conversation. So I'm going to start off this part of the conversation by playing a game. Okay, it's a sentence completion game, and what I'm going to ask is, when I think about the Christmas season, I think. So I would like you to complete that sentence with the first thing that comes to your mind. when I think about the Christmas season, the thoughts I have are
Family.
family. Go ahead. You don't have to.
Fun, family, fair, and a lot more fun.
Okay.
Family, fun, music, giving.
Family, fun, food, and an element of sadness at times.
Okay. And so that leads us into the next sentence completion activity, which is when I think about the Christmas season, I feel. And so you already shared yours. You said sadness. You want to share another feeling that you have during the Christmas season?
Another one of the feelings I would think of at this time of the year would be, how can I make my family, to bring about more togetherness in the family, you know, to bring us more in harmony with each other. I seriously think about that because I think within myself too that my emotions also affect their emotions at this time of the year.
Okay. Thanks.
I feel blessed. I feel blessed to have family around. I feel blessed to have the stuff that you have around. Especially when I contrast that to what is very evident. Just down the street, you can find someone, some child who doesn't have as much as your children have. And that's something that I try to instill in my own children. Even when we don't have all that you want to have, you are still blessed to have what you have.
Okay. Feel. What do you feel?
I feel a large degree of anxiety. I'm torn between excitement, uncertainty, and to some degree some fear, even though I know cognitively that I shouldn't be feeling or experiencing fear. Ms. Nadine.
This year I feel sad because a member of my family is no longer with us this year. But I also am grateful because we had a new addition to the family as well this year. So yeah, those are the feelings.
Okay. I feel I have mixed emotions about the holiday season as well. And so we'll talk about that further. The last sentence completion activity. When I think about the Christmas season, I behave, I act, or I do. What do you do? When you think about the Christmas season, what do you do? What are some things you do? I travel. That's what I do. I don't do much vacationing throughout the year because I save my little coins. I save my coins for coming to the Caribbean for the holiday season.
Well, when I do at Christmas time, for the past few years, I would when I was abroad, I would always return home. So I was taking that risk of being out there during the holiday season. But the past 3 years, I've been blessed to be at home and just be at home with my folks. I tend to read, eat, and help out with the thing, but just to be among my family, and especially last year with Daddy, where we didn't do much in terms of celebrating. We were just there. We didn't clean, we didn't do all that kind of stuff, but we were just with each other. We were just there with him during that time. So.
Okay. So just having a sense of being with family and
space.
just being in that space. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A space of comfort and acceptance and belonging. Yeah.
We talk, we laugh, we eat, we just be in the same space.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, on my end, I would say true Trini fashion.
All right.
There's a lot of doing. Doing at home in my house. I do at my grandmother's house. You know, you want that sense of newness, that new smell Christmas morning. And even though I don't do much of the cooking stuff, there's always the shopping and the excitement to be out there creating new experiences for my own children. And to do that, there's a lot of doing happening. So, you know, I heard Nadine a while ago talking about rest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know that I have rest.
During the holidays.
That's right. There's so much doing.
Yeah.
So basically what we do in times past was to get the house ready. But since we have been in the throes of renovating, and that renovation came unexpectedly to some extent, it hasn't been the same. However, what has remained traditional is the family coming and eating and having a good time with us. The shopping, no, that's not traditionally what we do. The economy just doesn't afford us, but we will try as much as possible to get gifts for the children. That's the most important part in terms of the doing part.
Well, this time of the year, what do? I eat as much as I can for free and sleep a lot more, and watch movies and hang out with my nieces and nephews if I'm in the island of Barbados.
So we talked about what we think when we think about Christmas, what we feel when we think about Christmas, and what we do when we think about Christmas. So let's continue talking about what are some let's recognize or identify some helpful and unhelpful thoughts, mindsets and emotions that impacts our interactions or the things we do during the season. So what are some of the thoughts you may have, the mindsets or attitudes or emotions that you have or you experience during this time of the year, the holiday time, Christmas time, that influences how you do what you do, how you be, right? How you interact. What are some of those thoughts that let's take it one step at a time based on the room and time process. So let's identify some of the thoughts that you have that impact your activities or your relationships during the holiday season.
The smell that you remember from your childhood, that you think helps to complete the Christmas experience. And so you go searching for that smell.
Well,
the new things that you feel you must have,
right,
to have that present. Or even the presents that you must exchange, or and you know that the children must get presents.
Right.
If they don't get presents, you don't have Christmas. And you know, trying to relive that past with all the things it brought, and making sure that you do all that you need to do to keep that.
Right. So you just identified then some of the interactions and some of the things activities that you do. What are the thoughts behind that? And it sounded like you're saying the thought behind recreating is wanting to relive, to give your children or your nieces and nephews that nostalgic experience
that you feel you had.
Exactly.
So the thought is really what drives the action.
Exactly.
So the thought here is that I must recreate this And the thought also is that these things must be present for the Christmas experience
to be the
to
most
be right.
to be the most wonderful time
That's
of
right.
the year.
You know,
Okay.
so that's the thought. That
Those
you
are the
must
thoughts.
have it.
Yeah.
You must have the smell. You
Mhm.
must have the presence. And that's the thinking. And that drives you to make sure that you go out
And do
and do.
exactly.
Yes.
Anybody else had before? Because I wanna kind of continue on that thought there. That thought about thinking. Because let's just go with what Stacy talked about. What if you have those thoughts of recreating, of going, so you have the thoughts that help you to recreate this experience for your children or your nieces or nephew or relationships, right, with the presents and all of that. What if that doesn't happen? What if you do not have, you have the thoughts, but you don't have the means to take the thought from a thought to an action? How does that impact your relationships or your expectations for relationships during the season? Everybody jump in.
Yeah. On my end, the thought is, you know, I think I'm beyond that. But someone coming to your house, you know, there's that tradition too that we visit each other's homes. And so, wait, you did nothing for this Christmas? You put away the house this Christmas?
Right.
And so, the feeling or the thought behind that is that friends and family will come over and judge you for not having that, you know, house fixed up.
Right.
Or even so, you pass on that thought to your children that they should expect presents. Also, you don't want to pass, you know, to make sure that your children perpetuate the thought that they too should have presents for Christmas. You don't want them to feel different from anyone else. And so your thought transfers to them. And so they're thinking too that they must have
X, Y, or
presents.
Z.
Yeah, and they want these lavish things because that's what we have taught them.
And so that is what Christmas may mean to them in their minds. What do you guys have to say about that? I mean, what comments do you have to make on that?
Well, with respect to what she
Right, what we were talking about.
well, of course, the thoughts would definitely impact how the interactions. You know, so if it is, for example, if it is a year that things are not going, you're not able to provide and do the things that that you would really want to have, and all that, you might not want people to come. Right, we might want to try and deflect people and want people to come, or you might adjust again. But then again, that to me, that has a lot to do with your mindset, though. Yeah, because as to how much do you really care? Because I talk about when I compare to my experience, well, last year, for Christmas, because we were so busy focused on caring for my dad, and he was in the last stages of his life. Our mindset at that point in time, we didn't care. I bought some curtains and draperies and stuff that stayed on my couch for about like 4 months after my father died, and only after that they were removed and and they actually put them up or something like that. By that point in time, especially the emotions that were that went along with it, we weren't. I guess we were sad inside. We saw what's coming. We had an idea as to what was coming. But my thoughts at that time was, okay, I don't know exactly when it's going to come, but let me do what I can to just be there with him. There are more things more important. It did cross my mind like, well, we didn't do anything, but we didn't cook, we didn't do all of these things. Yeah, the thoughts did cross my mind, but then it was just like we just focused on what was important for us at that time. And in terms of the interactions, it was just about the interactions with the family, just being there with him, sitting with him, reading to him, singing to him, just being with him in those moments. And even when people came, there were some folks who came and we didn't, for those who came to spend time with him and interact with us, we allowed them to come in. If you wanted to take and say something, I can't stop you.
Especially in light of the situation.
In light of the situation. So at that time, this year, I could suggest that I still might not care.
And that's okay because
that's just me.
What I want us to focus on is the different ways of thinking that can impact.
And either one is not good or bad.
Exactly.
It's just your way of being and how you've chosen to deal with it.
Exactly.
And especially, I guess, at that point in time, I might say I don't care, but I might actually, I might be influenced by, we have to do this and do that. But at that point in time, based on the situation and what was going on with the family, it impacted our time, our thoughts,
interactions,
our mindsets, and emotions.
While Nadine was talking there, I could relate totally to what she was talking about in terms of going through renovations, coming around Christmas time, you would want your place to look a certain way, and we are accustomed putting away the house, the local parlance, meaning we have to have the curtains up, everything must look bright and shiny.
And new,
according to Stacey, right?
New, even though it's not new curtains.
Right.
It's a change from what was there over the past 11 months. And what my thoughts at that point in time, when it came to 2 Christmases and the house still wasn't finished, was, oh my gosh, the family coming, what would they say after all this time? We still haven't reached anywhere. But when they did come, it was, what was I concerned about? They didn't care. They were here with us.
Right.
So, it just shows that you're thinking thoughts that may not really be, truth. It was a different kind of truth for me, but for the rest of the family, it didn't matter. The fact is, they came, they ate, the children had a good time, we were together. That was the important thing.
Well, I from my perspective, long before Christmas, there's this level of anxiety. You're thinking that somebody else is thinking something. And given the emotional challenges that multiple family members have between them in terms of relational engagement, it's almost like I think something that somebody else is thinking, which I don't know what they're thinking, but I'm being a prophet or a seer, a mind reader, and you create this angst within yourself, and it affects others around you because you become defensive. And the other part of that is that I have to decide I'm done with that. And try to enjoy, because it is only my nieces and nephews who will torment me with fun. And they will distract me away from the thoughts that I'm thinking, that other people are thinking, which probably aren't true, because what is happening, everyone is afraid to do something that will offend something to take away the ambiance or the nice feeling of the day.
The thoughts about how we interact with family members, mindsets. What are our attitudes about relationships, right? What are our emotions around relationships during this time of the year? And it could be, familial relationships, significant other relationships. It could be Facebook, social media relationships, because there's a whole lot of pressure now with what who you're friending or who you're not friending, or what you're supposedly doing when you're really not doing anything. And what are our thoughts, our mindsets, attitudes, and let's include emotions around relational expectations during this time of the year? What are we expecting from people, and how are our expectations impacting how we experience this most wonderful time of the year?
So I want to talk about that first. There's this, as far as childhood is concerned, we all find an ideal place of joy, an ideal place of relationship with those around us. But the truth of the matter is, most of the people who are many of them, I can't say most, many of the people who come up with the themes about it's the most wonderful time, what they do is they're creating an idea that people aspire to because they generally don't like their lives. And when you engage with your family, especially at Christmas, the truth of your relationships comes right in front of you. And when I was living in England, everything is great, great, great until you get to the pub, Christmas Eve, and then you go home tanked up. And then all the anger and bitterness that mom, dad, auntie, uncles, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters have, well, don't you think it's unreasonable that you come in here when we've all been putting the house away? And then when you go home, and when I speak of home, I'm speaking of going to Barbados, that everyone is, yeah man, come and have a drink. The problem is, I think that some of the drinking is to mask or to stuff what they're really afraid of. I mean, in my case, I just want to get past the negative experience. And the funny thing is that my brothers and sister will not say what they're experiencing, but you can look at them and see it on their faces. And I'm going to get out of here. And on Christmas Day, you're supposed to have lunch. Why are you leaving home on Christmas Day to go visit someone when you have lunch put right here together? And you'll come back after everyone has eaten, have your plate, and pretend that everything is fine. So that's all I have to say.
So what you're saying is that some of the expectations based on one's childhood somehow gets transmitted into our present and impacts our relationships now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And therefore thus makes the opportunity for having the most wonderful time of the year not so wonderful. Because the past thoughts, the past mindsets, the past emotions, even the past interactions influences the present.
We have a thing that we say in Trinidad, that around Christmas time your enemies now become your friends.
Okay.
And that comes out of that tradition of paranging, where you sing the Spanish music and go house to house, and you go to houses. We have somewhat moved away from that, but I still think there is the expectation that you could not speak to that neighbor for the entire year. But during Christmas time, you're supposed to have a cordial kind of relationship. And say Merry Christmas, or even be able to enter this home.
Wow. So that's interesting. So it's almost like a year of jubilee, where you have that
a period of jubilee,
yes. A day of jubilee, where you have a pass, you have a free pass to then now let bygones be bygones for that 24-hour period.
And in some instances, I would say that it would have carried through. So there is a negative and positive side of this, where some people would use that as an opportunity to rebuild broken relationships.
Okay.
On the other hand, you have relationships where there's the pretense that you have rebuilt, but the feelings fester until the next thing happens, and then the fallout is even worse because the issues weren't really dealt with.
Bye.